Alrighty, guys, welcome to the J4U Podcast, episode 28, and, yeah, we're here. It's been a while since we've done an episode of the J4U Podcast, but yeah, there's Luke.
Spooky podcast.
Ooh, very spooky, that's right. We even got, let me make sure you guys can see
I'm currently wearing a skeleton mask, actually, as we say this.
I like how you're wearing a skeleton mask, but we can't even see your face.
I can send you a picture, and then we can overlap it onto.
There you go.
Like my area.
Yeah,
just
do that.
Give me a second.
But on set right now, we got the pumpkin. We named him last Halloween, during an Outlast video. Totally forgot what his name was, though. I don't remember.
Call him Frank.
It was a weird name. It was like Persilius
Like
the Pumpkin or something. Yeah, it was like it was an old timey name that started with a P or something. But
what about Pumptoos?
Pumptoos?
Pumptoos the pumpkin is of the pumpkin kin.
I'm just gonna call him Tom for right now because I can't remember what his name was. But he's here.
Okay, cool.
He's chilling.
Yeah. He's alive and well.
Yeah.
On his favorite time of the year.
You mean Halloween month?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Sorry, just a second.
Yeah, so, but it has been a while since we've done an episode of the J4U Podcast, and that's because the past couple weeks we've been doing the pilots of all the new podcasts that will be coming out soon. So let's see. We got Out of Sync Stories, which that has done the best so far. Not for Families Game Night, and then finally Casual Crappy Cinema was last Saturday. But yeah, so those are the new 3 podcasts that will be debuting, and then we'll have one more kind of podcast that we'll be releasing hopefully soon. But there's going to be a lot of new content for you guys 2018 that I'm very excited about.
A lot of new stuff. A lot of new things are coming very soon, very quickly. Get excited for it, or not. I mean, it's your choice.
Yeah. But
I don't know. Also, here you go.
Cool. Okay.
I just realized I have like the fucking thinking man sculpture face for a second. I was like, ooh, what does it be to be a skeleton?
Oh, that's a cool mask. Hold on, let me show chat first, and then I'll make it your thing.
Yeah, I'll talk about where I got that once it's up on to screen.
Yeah, display capture. Okay, there they can kind of see it. Yeah. So that's a pretty dope mask you got there.
Yeah, I got that from All Souls Procession, and for people who don't know what that is because they don't live in Tucson, where like that's probably one of the only cool things to ever happen here. It's basically kind of like a big parade version of Day of the Dead, except we fucking go all out with it and do a lot of cool stuff. And I got this mask like 3 years ago, and honestly, I have a picture of my phone on my phone with me wearing this mask, and it was probably like one of the first pictures I ever took on my phone. So it was like fucking ages ago now. But yeah, that's where I got it now.
Nice.
Like back in 2014.
Okay, let me see if I can do this here. Image. Sure.
Like, enlarge it. Sorry to have to make you change your setup.
God,
even though
couldn't have done this before we started. God.
I didn't. I thought about it because it said Spookycast, and I was like, oh man, I forgot. Oh yeah, it is also October. I mean Halloween, so I might as well take out the thing I haven't taken out in like 3 years.
There we go. Looking good there. It kind of fits in your box. Let me make it a little bit closer.
Oh, I'll be seeing it soon.
Yeah. Okay. That should be good. Anyway, so yeah. Let me go back. Sorry, I have to pull up my notes again. Okay. But yeah, so it's been a while since we've done an episode of J4U Podcast, so it's great to be back. This is a lot of fun. I love doing this podcast. And this is our Halloween special, if you could not tell, for the podcast.
And also my face.
Yeah.
Which is dead.
Do you want to know what my costume is?
What is your costume?
I'm a scrawny Asian guy. It's what I've been for Halloween for the past several years.
Every day is Halloween if you think hard enough.
Yep. But before we dive into the loot crate that we got here, because that's going to stay on the J4U Podcast, loot crates will be on everyone. But anyway, Luke, did you have a shout out you want to give or something?
I'll talk about that during when we're talking about movies and shows.
Okay.
That's like a show I wanted to discuss.
Okay, then just give me a reminder. So anyway, we got some
Yeah.
people in the chat that I'm going to shout out as well before we do the Loot Crate. Bumblebee says, hey, hello, my friend. All hail
Hello.
Destru, from Cool Zip.
Who?
I mean Destru. No, wait, yeah. Okay. He also says, hi, guys. And, and cool. Okay, and... Bumblebee, hey guys, can I tell you who I'm gonna be for trick or treat? Ooh, yeah. And then
What's Joe gonna be?
The toy 5-3 You're Master Chief from Halo. Nice.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I have a Master Chief costume hanging around from back when he was our mascot for the channel.
Oh yeah. I remember I saw some videos like from a while back, and I was like, oh, that's kind of like the big symbol for the channel for a while.
I even still have
Photoshop.
Yeah, I still have the big Master Chief helmet on the movie review set. So,
yeah, you know, it's actually fun. Excuse me. You know, it's actually funny. I just realized I was actually Optimus Prime one time for Halloween, like a couple years ago, like when I was a small child.
A couple years ago.
I mean, since I'm 16, a couple years ago is a good amount of time for me. But yeah, it was back then. Also, Cool Zips, you hate Halloween? What's wrong with you?
Well, okay. To his credit, I don't hate Halloween, but for me, it's like it's never been this huge deal. It's like, oh, cool, I get to dress up in a costume. Not like I can. Excuse me, man, now I have it. Thanks, Luke. Not like I could do that anyway around the house or something. Or, oh, cool, I can get candy. Man, that's awesome. It's not like I can go to the store and buy candy. On the other hand, you got Thanksgiving, which is fucking food for days, literally. You got Christmas, where you're literally just given free shit that you wanted.
Yeah.
Like,
Halloween has now been soured as we slowly become adults. And it's just a sign of us losing our innocence.
Hell, Easter is a rabbit-themed Halloween, basically.
Yeah, it kind of is, actually, without the costumes.
Yeah. Well, there's a rabbit costume someone hops around in. And I could still see it be, like, socially acceptable to wear some kind of a costume. Like, you wouldn't want to wear a skeleton costume, but, I mean, like, you would dress up on Easter. I could see that.
Yeah. I guess.
But
dress up as Jesus.
The one thing that I'll give Halloween credit for is horror movies, and it's a good horror type month.
Oh yeah.
But the whole trick-or-treating candy thing, I just can't get into, I guess. Maybe it's also the fact that I'm not a huge candy person.
I mean, I was when I was younger, and then I sort of kind of got.
You mean last year? Yeah.
I kind of lost my appeal of candy after a while, and even there was a point where, like, why do people like sugar? And then I had a year, like, this year's kind of made me start to realize why that is. It's because, like, some people are so fucking overworked with stuff, they're just like, I need mental stimulation somehow.
But I have caffeine for that.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. It's like, but you could also just have coffee.
Yeah. Anyway, so now, without further ado, we've been here for 10 minutes. Let's open up a loot crate.
Yeah, let's open up that crate. Crack it open like a good old Halloween brew or something. I don't know.
So
if those exist.
Well, they've got it. They exist. I'll tell you that right now. Anyway.
Cool.
So, first off, I'm going to say this is an interestingly shaped box. Most of the time, they're not as narrow as this. This is like a narrow loot crate box. Yeah. It's like the kind of... It's like... It's slightly bigger than a box that you'd expect a dildo to be in. Like, that's kind of the thing I'd say.
I see it.
Yeah, like, it's like, maybe it's like two dildos are in here or something. Like, it's such an odd shape compared to all the other loot crate boxes. But let's open her up.
It's a mini crate.
Ooh, this looks kind of like a Lord of the Rings thing on the inside here. Let's see what else here. Okay, ooh. So we have, first off, immediately, a Thor Ragnarok thing. Collector series, Thor versus Loki. Let me pop this up, see what it is. Ooh! Oh my god.
Pretty excited for that.
It's a really little figurine set. Oh, wow. Oh, the art style is really cool, though. I like that. Here, let me show you guys. See if you guys can see Loki's head, kinda. Yeah. And then you got Thor right up there. You can't really see Thor. I'm going to take him out of the package so you guys can see him a little better.
Ah.
Okay. Why I got Skithers.
Oh, man, those are really tiny. Huh.
It's, I think, the same people who made my little alien figurine I got a podcast or two ago.
Oh, yeah, like the one you had to build or something like that?
Yeah, that was a pain to build as well. This looks
really?
like it's the same kind of design.
Ah.
But, yeah, here you can see it a little bit better. You got Loki right there, who looks low-key pissed.
Hey.
Okay, let me move him over.
Moving on.
And then you've got slammed his thumb in a door, and now his finger is sore right here.
Hey. I'm just gonna keep doing that every time you do it, and it's gonna get annoying, so...
And then you got his body.
If you want me to keep doing this. His body.
Yep.
Move your body free.
And his hammer's like doing something weird there. I'll say that. It's okay. Yeah. Kind of like, you guys probably can't see it well, but his body looks like he's flying using his hammer, but the air looks very water-like. Huh. He's secretly a waterbender, is what it means.
Oh man, this is all secretly a prequel to The Last Airbender.
Yeah, the whole MCU is in the same universe as the Last Airbender movie.
Does that mean M. Night Shyamalan gets to make an MCU film?
That's his twist. He's made them all. He's doing the long con.
No!
Okay. And then you got this shirt right here, which is a Ghostbusters shirt, it looks like.
Oh.
Ooh! It's a Ghostbusters shirt, but it's almost in the same kind of style as our channel. The kind of retro green and blue and pink. Yeah.
That's pretty nice. Let me... Oh, yeah, it does. It kind of has, like, that neon illuminating look.
Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah. I sort of kind of forgot about Ghostbusters, to be honest.
So did I after the newer movie. Ooh.
Oh.
And Clock will like this. It's a Stranger Things something or other.
Oh, man, I love something or others.
I know, they're the best. Let me get the scissors to open this up. I have not a clue what it is yet.
What if it was the show instead of Stranger Things is called Stranger Somethings or Other?
Yeah, this is what the box art looks like. I don't know if it's a puzzle or something, or that'd be cool.
Life is a puzzle. That's.
Oh no, it's a figurine set. Oh, dope.
Oh, really?
This is really cool, actually.
Oh.
They gave us 2 figurines in this.
2 for the price of 1.
So you got 11 in the monster.
Ah.
Whoop. And 11 fell out.
Oh,
no, that was the monster.
Oh no.
There we go. So there he... Oh, now 11 fell out. Okay.
Oh, okay.
I'm just dropping everything right
like
now.
You drop everything and...
Yeah, there they are.
Safely.
Cool. Ugh. And you also got a little Mr. Pointy bookmark is what it's called. From Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Yeah.
Oh, wow. I have never watched that show nor know what it's really about besides Vampire Slayer.
Mm-hmm. Which is in the title, so.
Yeah, so that's an obvious one.
Okay, I'm a hot mess. I'm just throwing things around my office right now because my trash can's full.
Oh really? Is it like kind of overfilled at this point?
Yeah. And I need scissors.
You're a hot mess, but you're a good mess.
Thank you.
I guess I don't even know where it's going actually. my brain is kind of fried at this current point.
Okay, well, as soon as I can get this one last piece out of here, we're gonna move on to the movies list.
Oh boy, movies. What's on the list?
In fact, I'm gonna let you get started with movies while I'm doing this, because you're gonna be the main person talking about this one. The last podcast, we kind of did a warm-up to Blade Runner, because it hadn't come out at that point, but now, Luke, you've seen it how many times?
4.
Yeah, so you got plenty of thoughts on it, so I'm gonna let you take it away, and, yeah, tell us what you thought about it.
Sweet. Okay, so I'll kind of give you, like, what my first impressions were, like, with each different viewing that I saw. So when I first saw it, like, I was super duper hyped, as basically everyone who's known me on this channel is aware of, and so, just a second. Yeah, sorry, I'm disgusting. Anyways, I watched it first time, and I was like, oh, really excited, and after I watched it, I was like, huh, I don't know how to feel about that. It was weird. Like, there's a lot of aspects that are fantastic and, like, really well done. There were just, like, other things. It was like, I don't know. It didn't seem that great. And, you know, it was kind of lukewarm after that, no pun intended. So I watched it again because I felt like there's a lot of stuff that I just kind of completely did not understand whatsoever. And so I watched it for a second time and was like, damn, this is a fantastic movie, actually. And then at one point, I was able to see it in IMAX, and no longer they're showing in IMAX because this movie's fucking bombing. But anyways, saw in IMAX, and then I was like, holy fucking goddamn shit, holy shit goddamn boy. I cried 5 times. Damn. And then I was hooked on it being the greatest movie of the year, and then I watched it again. It was like, yep. I just wish the projectionists actually did their job and not make the movie look really cramped. But besides that, best movie of the year in my personal opinion right now.
Yeah, for me, Baby Driver still holds that title, but I have not seen Blade Runner yet, so.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, I guess, like, it also has some value for me since I really love the first one, but I also feel like the way that this was made is like, it doesn't feel like, oh, it's Blade Runner again. It's more like, hey, this is the same universe, but kind of a different story and different feel to it. Whereas there's a lot of sequels, and even like sequels that I've enjoyed recently that are just like, hey, you know that thing that you love from whenever? Well, guess what? Here's a bunch of things alluding to original film. Wow. And where's the story? It's the same. Anyways, bye. And I was super incredibly happy to find when watching this film that it was basically completely disregarded that idea of making sequels and actually did its own thing. And whenever it did do like references to the original film, it was in the sake of actually progressing the plot and not just for kind of meandering and nostalgia.
Okay.
And visual effects are like actually perfect. Like, I don't think there was a single visual effect that was like, that seemed a little cheap, I guess, or was just, it was cool. Every single like aspect of the visual effects were just, also same for cinematography by Mr. Roger Deakins, or however you say his name. And so like, I'm a big cinematography person, and I was excited for this movie, not only because, you know, Blade Runner has great aesthetics, but because of him. And I watched it, and it was like, fucking dude, this was everything I could have wanted and more. And it was great. And even Hans Zimmer's score was actually surprisingly good, and I was kind of concerned, because, like, I was expecting it to just be blah noises or whatever. But, like, he did actually really good, though. Saying that, there is a lot of bleh in score every once in a while, and it does actually kind of get pretty annoying at points. But, like, the parts that don't do the bleh and have like their own feel to it are actually great, and doesn't just feel like they took Vangelis' score and be like, hey, we're gonna put you here, we don't have any ideas, bye. And so it's just like its own like feel, like it actually feels unique but still in the same universe as the original film. and it's just great to be able to say that about a sequel to a well-beloved film. Like, it's great. And also, Harrison Ford gives one of the best performances of the year, even though he was in it for like probably 20 minutes.
Oh, wow.
I don't fucking care. Shut up. He actually, like, you know how, like, people were really sad about, like, or actually, like, how they really enjoyed his character in, like, you know, something like The Force Awakens or something like that. Like, they thought, wow, he did such a great performance. I say, shut up, we haven't seen this. He fucking tore my heart out, beat it to the ground, and then shot it a couple of times. And then he was like, I'm sorry, I guess. Because he fucking broke me in a couple of scenes. Like, he actually was fantastic. Wow. And also...
Good for him.
Yeah, good for him for fucking killing my heart, asshole. Anyways, this also solidifies that Denis Villeneuve is my current favorite director. He's fucking, like, he made a big, like, $150 million R-rated, like, art house film, basically, and it actually is really good. And I'm just like, god damn it, man. God damn it that it's not making any money. Even in fucking China, where, like, everything makes money. But, yeah. Like, do you want to know what it got on its first day, like, in, like, American US dollars equivalent?
What?
On its first day, 2.4 million. Which, you know, like in there's a lot of stuff that's really successful, but, like,
yeah, for a wide release across, like, the country, yeah. Was that international or was that just US box office?
Oh no, this is for, like, China. I was saying, like, converted into US dollars.
Oh, gotcha. Wow, really?
On their first day.
Yeah, that's kind of saddening.
But that was mainly because the marketing behind this film was kind of fucking awful. Because they're like, hey, you remember Blade Runner, right? But there's a lot of people that are like, no. Not really, actually. And also the fact that, literally, if I tried to tell you any aspect of the story, I would kind of honestly be spoiling it. Like, just even slightly. Which is why most of the marketing was basically just, Key to the Future, Ryan Gosling, Harrison Ford, Blade Runner, bye.
Yeah.
That's the story. Because,
that's
like, if
true.
they went any further in depth, they would actually probably be spoiling some pretty significant stuff. But yeah, anyways, sorry if it was kind of a long ramble, but fucking love that, and it was everything I could have wanted. And more.
Well, on the flip side of the spectrum, the next movie we have to talk about is Geostorm. So if you guys have not seen my movie review for it, please go check it out. And since I have already talked about it, Luke, I'm going to let you talk first about your thoughts of Geostorm.
Okay. So when I first went to go see this, I was like, I didn't think it was going to be, like, amazing or anything, but I was at least expecting a silly, fun, kind of Independence Day style, like, disaster film. Something kind of basically just kind of Roland Emmerich style, where it's, like, really stupid, over the top, but really fun. And I expected nothing, and I was still disappointed.
Yeah, I had a similar experience with that.
Yeah. I could only think of one slight positive to even say about this film, is that it doesn't hurt to look at, I guess, but not that it looks good. It's just bland. Unless
you're talking about the shots that are CGI based. Those hurt to look at a little bit.
Yeah, I meant, like, most of the movie.
Yeah.
Looks alright.
Which, my only kind of plus is also kind of a negative. It's the fact that it wasn't really a disaster movie like it was marketed to be. Very little of the movie was an actual disaster, like natural disaster based. It was more so a mystery movie. Which, on the one hand, it's different. It's a nice twist, and it wasn't what I was expecting. At the same time, it wasn't done great. At all.
No, far from that.
If it had been done well, then I'd have, some more praises. But as it being my only praise, and the praise is that, well, that wasn't what I was expecting, isn't necessarily a good thing.
Yeah, like that. It's like, hey, it's different, but in a way that actually works. It's like, not necessarily, yeah. And honestly, I feel like they would have benefited more if it just stayed as mostly a disaster film, because like the espionage kind of like mystery aspects were just so unbearably boring, and like the characters had one-dimensional personalities.
Yeah, and the writing was Star Wars prequel level bad, both in dialogue and some of the jumps they make. Like, there are some scenes between characters where I just wanted to pull my ears off, just because the dialogue was A, so stupid, and B, made zero sense in how it could have possibly contributed to the entirety of the film.
Yeah, I was honestly at one point in this movie, like about 20 minutes in, like just listening to the dialogue, and I remember to myself, like people making jokes like, this looks like a fake movie that would be in an actual film, like in the background, and I was like, this actually feels like it as I watch it. Like these lines are the most predictable. Like I feel like I could think of like what they're gonna say next, like word for word, and not all the time, but most of the time, I was actually pretty spot on.
And it just was not great. And what I talked about in my review, and is the main point that I kind of want to focus on with this movie, is why I feel it's so bad, is because it made me feel like I'd seen this movie before. Like, I guarantee you there's so many movies in the past 10 years that this is basically now a cookie cutter category. Yeah.
This is just kind of like you need to have something that's a big budget, but is really quick to make.
Yeah.
And is going to be of mass market to most people.
Exactly.
Is basically just everything you've already seen before, and it's like, I got an idea. It's a weapon that makes disasters. It's like 2012, except there's multiples of them.
And actually, you just kind of pointed out what's probably the most defining factor of this type of movie, and that's trying to appeal to the largest demographic possible, but in that appealing to no demographic, because you're trying to make it for everybody, but by doing that, you're making it for no one.
Yeah, basically. And yeah, like it just really works against itself in that regard.
Yeah, like, hey, we're funny, but we're also serious, and we have these really cool action set pieces, but then we also have just scenes of people talking, and they're trying to put everything together, and it just doesn't fit.
I remember I don't remember who said it, but there was like a video essay person who said something about how a lot of films recently seem to be so inconsistent that it's almost like a job of the audience member to try to kind of find a focus in it. And I think it was from Nerd Writer who said that, but yeah, like it just I was just watching this like, what are you trying to be? What do you want to be? Like, give me some fucking feedback on this. Isn't just we had one tone and let's go to the next one.
Yeah. But that Geostorm was a hot mess.
Yeah, and one thing I kind of just like find really funny about it is like, even for like a Roland Emmerich style disaster film, it feels incredibly cheap. Like, like you look at something like this and look at something like 2012, which Roland Emmerich made, with like a bunch of natural disasters. The natural disasters in Geostorm feel so like kind of like lifeless and meh.
100%.
Whereas something like with like 2012, while it's not a good movie, like the effects that they do to create like disaster scenes will like feel massive and actually have like a great sense of scale to it. But yeah, like this couldn't even do like the sense of scale well in any sense. It's just
and the problem with that is your two main characters. One of them was in outer space and didn't have to deal with any of the natural disasters. The other one barely got into one of the natural disasters and was throughout the whole movie doing that mystery quest. So when oh, there's a country in the Middle East, boom, they're gone. Oh, there's another city, boom, they're gone. You don't know the people there. You have no personal connection. They're just destroying cities for no other reason than to destroy cities, and it's not leaving any emotional impact on the viewer.
Yeah, it's just kind of like, I don't really care about this, why should I?
And
like in the situation,
the closest they came was the Hong Kong scene where you were following that Asian guy, but at the time you didn't know who he was, and the movie still didn't really explain it by the end.
Yeah, it was just like, he's a guy, and it's like, what does he do? It's like, science and stuff.
Yeah,
Okay,
like,
cool.
make it a main character. Make it a Make it a character that we actually care about the fate of.
Yeah, and it isn't just kind of like thrust in for like a scene or two.
Mm-hmm.
It just has no purpose whatsoever than to be a plot device.
The best example I can think of was that one beach that had the tsunami coming in, and they followed that one lady who that was her only scene. She was extra number 7, and the camera was like, let's just follow that one. She's cute. That's the closest connection in that entire natural disaster part.
Basically, yeah. There's just that character and character run for just like a little bit.
Extra number 7 in the bikini. She's the main character of that scene.
It's like, it's like, but why are we following her if she has no more importance than to be like, oh no, natural disaster, we gotta run away.
Whether she lived or died made no difference in the arc of the story in that moment.
Yeah, the whole picture itself.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, man. It's just, yikes.
Yeah.
It was legitimately painful to sit through.
Mm-hmm. But I can guarantee. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, and I say this being in like our most recent AMC, like doing a God English. What's the word for like redecorating a plate? I'll just say redecorated.
Okay.
But our AMC got redecorated recently with like recliner chairs, and even
renovated.
In that, renovated, and even in that, I was like, I fucking hate this, and I just want to leave.
Yeah, and I feel like another part of this movie that's just makes it even worse is that I can guarantee you 90% of the people who saw this movie will not remember it in a year.
Yeah, basically, just kind of like a. It almost feels like if it wasn't really majorly, it would be like one of those mockbuster films or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I say that really funny because there actually is a mockbuster of Geostorm that exists.
Oh God.
I can't remember what it is. I might just look that up because I remember laughing my fucking ass off at the title.
Okay. So next on. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say it, but yeah. Geostorm is a disaster.
Yeah. So next on the list we have. I don't think this has come out yet, but Jigsaw. I think it's a good time to at least bring up the Saw movies since it is Halloween months. Also,
to let you know, it has come out. It was
okay.
I didn't see it because I could honestly care less. but yeah. Yeah. Do you want to? Sorry to interrupt you.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, I don't really have much of any experience with Saw besides seeing the first one actually a couple of weeks ago, and it's good. It's pretty good actually. It still holds up in a lot of aspects. Besides editing, because the editing is sometimes just like the equivalent of watching like a really awful like death metal band editing in like early 2000s, which. To be fair, it was the early 2000s when it came out, but still, it just, like, makes my eyes want to vomit everywhere.
Was this James Wan's first big movie?
Oh, yeah, that was the thing that got him onto the thing, because, like, the movie was made on, like, a budget of $1.5 million and went into Sundance and became, like, a massive hit.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's what these movies are getting wrong. They're not putting James Wan at the head. They have all these other directors who don't quite understand Saw the way, or horror even, the way that James Wan does. So I think that's the biggest problem with all the newer Saw movies.
Yeah, that and also that their plots make no fucking sense whatsoever.
Well, it's because there's a bunch of directors who are just trying to copy the first Saw movie without understanding it, really. They're just like, oh, what worked in the first movie? Okay, let's just rebrand that into the new one.
Yeah.
They're not putting any creativity into it.
Yeah. But it's just really funny. I haven't seen any of the other films, but I saw like a video documenting basically the plot of all of the Saw film franchise as like a singular like story, like trying to make it chronological. And they're like, I tried for at least like 2 weeks, and this is like the best I could come up with. And
That's literally me with Transformers.
Yes, basically. Oh, but at least Transformers doesn't have like a shitty twist ending that makes every single film like before have like a
Unicron.
Okay, wait. Yeah, like there's like the films always have like some sort of this character was actually a part of the Saw thing all along, and there's like, but we just got introduced to them now.
Go ahead and send me that video. I'll be really interested to see it.
Oh, the video? It's like a 2-part video, in all honesty, but it's
I'll watch it.
documentation of like, yeah. It's actually from one of my favorite film reviewers, YMS, or Your Movie Sucks to be like for the full name, but it was a great. It's just it's pretty long, but it's just so fantastic because he's just like, as he's trying to describe the plot of both these films, he just seems like to get more confused with like what even the fuck this is supposed to be.
I could 100% make that video for Transformers though, because you guys can't see it, but I had a whiteboard in my office marking out the lore of Transformers, just going like this arrow to this arrow to this arrow, because I'm working on season 3 of Transcrafters right now, and I'm trying to make it work with Michael Bay's story. But Michael Bay forgets the previous movies when it comes to writing the new one every single time. Like,
basically.
I mean, if you even go in depth, for the first Transformers movie, there's like, okay, here's the expanded universe for it. And then literally by Transformers 2, they said, yeah, all that expanded universe stuff, or at least we're retconning it. Here's the new expanded universe. Then Transformers 3 came out, and they're like, shit, forget everything we just stated. It's every single time. Literally. So Sentinel Prime was in both the expanded universe for the first Transformers and second Transformers, and he died in both of them at the hands of Megatron. But in Transformers 3, he flew away long after Megatron had left Cybertron. And I could go on about this for a long time, but Michael Bay rewrites the history of the Transformers universe every single movie. But
basically,
do we have anything else to talk about for Jigsaw?
Before we get to that, I just want to say hello, Marquez Lubier.
Yep.
However you say that. Do you like Halloween or Valentine's Day? I like Halloween more because I don't feel like a lonely piece of shit.
Yeah, I was going to get to that as well. And like, I have to say neither would be my answer. Just because Valentine's is only an okay holiday if you have somebody. And that's even if you have somebody, it's an okay holiday. Because it's a holiday of, cool, I'll spend money to buy her flowers and get a blowjob. Then that's your holiday. Like, and then if you have no one, it's like, great, I'm going to stay in my room and turn off all my lights and cry. That's your day.
Or jerk off.
Those are your 2 types of ways to spend that holiday. There's no in between. Whereas Halloween, it's like, people are going to be doing some spooky shit. Okay. Like, neither holiday is great.
To be honest, now that I think about it, actually, I'm actually not that, like bleh on Valentine's Day, mostly because, like, people like, oh god, I feel so lonely, but I'm more just I'm lonely, but I don't care because I'm fine with it.
I get that. That's I don't give a fuck mentality. Yeah.
Basically. But not in the, like, I don't care about people. It's just like, I am my own person.
Oh, no, I have the I don't care about people mentality.
Oh, okay.
But yeah. Anyway, did you guys know that in Transformers 5, in the junkyard scene, Ironhide and Jolt's heads are in that scene when Wheelie gets picked up? I did not notice that, actually. That's interesting.
Huh, that's cool.
To be fair, though, and I could be wrong about this, didn't Ironhide's head get disintegrated by Sentinel's gun? Was that... It at least got really messed up. So they might just have the messed up head.
These characters all kind of blend together to me, so I couldn't tell you.
Because Starscream's head was in Transformers 5, but Sam blew that up in Dark of the Moon, with literally the exploding thing that went into his eye, and you just saw Starscream's head go kapling! So... yeah,
and sparks.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they rebuilt it between Transformers 3 and 5, but that could be the only way Megatron had that head, really. But But yeah, Jolt would be cool to see. Ironhide, I'm sure they have in there, but yeah, that's really cool. I'll have to rewatch that sometime just to see about that. But yeah, okay. So next on the list, and go ahead, keep asking us questions, guys.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Oh, Happy Death Day, another Halloween movie.
I actually watched this just yesterday.
Oh, really?
Sent me, like, a file version of it, and I wish I didn't. I really wish I didn't.
See, that kind of bums me out, because I thought the premise was interesting. That kind of Edge of Tomorrow, Groundhog's Day, only it's a horror.
Yeah. Well, guess what? Like, with that kind of aspect, the thing is, like, if you want to make, like, a situation like that work, is the events beforehand kind of have to be interesting to warrant, like, seeing it over and over again.
But
whereas this movie is literally just the most, okay, here's, like, the biggest asshole possible. Follow her for a day. She gets killed, and it's like, oh no, I'm repeating the same day. And just have, like, the situation of basically nothing happening keep happening over and over again. And it's like, cool.
Oh my god.
But guess what? This character is still an asshole.
I'm not gonna lie.
Why should I care?
That would be kind of hilarious in real life. Like, imagine the most boring day of your life, but you have to live that over and over and over again. Is that what hell's like? I just imagine, like, it's the day that you're, like, cramming to write an essay, but you have to relive it day and day. Like, fuck, what did I write down for this part yesterday? Oh, God, this essay took me 8 hours to write yesterday. God, I'm only at the 4-hour mark. Like, that must be awful.
Yeah, and it actually would have worked if it was a comedy. But, like, then there's also, like, some slightly dramatic moments, and it's like, what? You like... There was only, like, 30 dramatic scenes, but, like, they feel so out of place. It's like, why did you put that there? It just, what? Okay.
I did watch a reviewer who pointed out a really good point. I haven't seen the movie, but I still imagine this applies, and you tell me if it does. What if the second day, or whatever day she realized that it's starting to repeat, she just went to the spot where she first died, knowing the killer would be there, and pulled off the mask so she knew where it was? So even... when she did die from that guy, she at least knew who he was right away. By just going to where you know he'll be and pull off the mask. Like, oh, it's that person. Cool. I'm gonna fuck you up tomorrow. / today.
She basically really could have done that, but she didn't, because guess what? Well-written characters don't give you plot conveniences, and for good reason.
We got a comment here. What horror movie do you love? Luke, you go first.
I'll give a couple. One that's really incredibly obvious is The Shining, since every film twat loves The Shining, and I am a film twat, so I apply to that. The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing, is also beautiful. Eraserhead is also one of my favorites. I guess would 7 apply to that, since it kind of has a lot of horror aspects, but it's more of a crime thriller?
Yeah, I wouldn't classify it as horror, but I get where you're coming from with that, but I probably wouldn't.
Those are the only two I can think of at the moment. I'll look up on my favorites list.
Yeah, I'm trying to think right now what mine would be, because I don't watch a whole lot of horror movies. Halloween is when I do that normally. Yeah, like, Halloween is the day when I marathon horror movies. Every other day in the year, I don't normally watch horror movies.
Oh, okay, I remember the other two. The other one was Alien, the one from 1979.
Okay, that's another good one.
And Evil Dead 2. Evil Dead 2 is fucking great. I love it. But more just because it's, like, half, like, creepy horror, and the other half is dumb, stupid comedy with, like, stop-motion effects by Sam Raimi. And I absolutely love it.
Oh, I forgot Sam Raimi did that.
Yeah, it was before he made Spider-Man.
Yeah. I'm going to have to go with Alien, now that you pointed that out, because I always forget that that's a horror movie. Unlike the other Alien movies, that one is.
Yeah. That's why I don't like Aliens very much, is because, like, it was more kind of an action film rather than horror. It was like, well, there goes my tension I love very much.
Yeah.
No, well. But it's still good. It's just like, I don't know. I prefer the first one much, much more.
Yeah. Well, next on the list, we got some trailer news. Since the last podcast, we got a trailer for The Last Jedi, and this showed a lot.
Yeah, actually a lot more than the first trailer, which was breathing, force. Wow. The end.
So, Chris, if you guys remember him from Just Few Studios, he and I both, for all the Star Wars movies, normally do a lot of theorizing. I have not had a chance to sit down and go shot by shot yet on this trailer, but from what I have seen, there's a lot of interesting things that it pokes out. From Snoke to Rey's past, I guess, of Jedi or Sith or what have you, and then even Kylo Ren's fate, I guess. Because this whole trilogy is meant to end the Jedi, I guess. So that by the end of this trilogy, there will no longer be any Jedi or Sith. There will just be Force users and non-Force users. And then, I think, so, from what I've heard, and I'm trying to remember how accurate, or the phrasing of all this, Disney, or the new Lucasfilm, is trying to move away from the linear good versus bad, Jedi versus Sith, and make their stories a lot more gray. Where it's like, hey, they're a Force user, but they're not all good like the Jedi, they're not all evil like the Sith. They want to have a lot of, in the gray characters to make it more interesting.
Maybe that are on like one specific side, but are kind of more have the aspects of another one, or vice versa.
Yeah, so that's why the title The Last Jedi is very fitting, since they're trying to get rid of the Jedi here. But yeah, I find it very interesting.
Yeah, it definitely. I'm really excited to see where it goes, and also just like kind of like where Luke's character goes as the films go on. Since like basically the only we didn't even get a line from him in the sequel film, so it's like.
Also, let me just point out, Mark Hamill's a fucking troll. If you weren't aware, because I love him so much. Yeah. I follow him on Twitter, and every little conspiracy theory that's out there, he just keeps like retweeting them, like maybe, like huh, interesting. ... Like even the ones that make no sense, he's like, huh. Like there's so like I was seeing someone who was like, Mark, stop, you're messing with my emotions, and he just replied, good. So he's just having.
I like to think it was just like his Twitter is full of like retweets of like conspiracy theories, and every single one of them has like a quote on it that just has like the thinking emoji.
I will say there's one that's really good, and that's that if you look at all the Star Wars posters, they have the main villain kind of big and in the background, if that makes sense. Like if you think back to the old Star Wars A New Hope poster, you had Darth Vader's head as a silhouette, Luke standing up making the lightsaber kind of cross, Leia next to him. Then 5 and 6 were similar with Darth Vader's helmet in the background. Then even in the prequels, you had whoever's villain was in the background as a giant head. Who's the giant head in Force Awakens?
Oh wait! Oh no!
It's Luke.
Is it? Oh no! I'm not a bad person. I promise you.
That was the first one that Mark Hamill retweeted, and that was like, oh my god! But then he threw out all the other conspiracy theories, and I'm like, I don't know what to believe anymore.
Yeah, it's just like, don't trust me, only if you Jedi.
But that one legitimately makes sense. Because Lucasfilms pays very close attention to stuff like that. Yeah. They do all that shit on purpose.
Yeah. And that kind of makes me worried that they're going to go for the bad Luke thing that everyone was theorizing. And it's like, I don't really want that personally.
Well, it makes sense, though, since he's... Yeah, we'll get into that later when it comes closer to December. But yeah, that trailer was really good. I'm glad that they, in this trailer, revealed the cinematic universe for Star Wars and Pokemon. I'm excited for that crossover.
Oh, yeah, with fucking porgs or whatever those
Yeah. I mean, my god. I'm so happy that I said that in my trailer reaction, because then I looked at Twitter, and there were a bunch of other people saying it. I was like, yes, I'm not alone, and I didn't steal that joke.
Yeah. Also, can I just say like something about porgs, because I know a lot of people really like them, but I have a really bad feeling they're going to be the like Ewoks of the sequels, which
I guarantee it. No, like, I guarantee it. They're 100% going to be the Ewoks.
It's like, what is their purpose? It's like, they're cute. It's like, but why are they here in the middle of the story? It's like, They're cute.
The same time, the Ewoks did shit. I mean, they weren't the best, but in the Battle of Endor, they fucking murdered some stormtroopers. Like, straight up killed stormtroopers. I want to see fucking Pork, I'm gonna call him Pork from now on. That's not his name, but I want to see Pork pull out a fucking blaster and start blasting some stormtroopers. Then maybe he can stay. But there's no way he's going to do that. If he's useful to the story, then sure. But I highly doubt he will be.
I'd love to see like a scene in either this one or the next film where like there's like an onslaught of like porgs just like flying in from the sky like the disease coming in on Egypt or something from fucking Moses.
They each have their own ship. They have X-wings that they're flying in.
No, like they're flying in like bringing disease upon like the fucking Sith or the New Order or something like that and like destroy them. That would be great. I'd watch that. Then I would take back everything I say about porgs if that happened.
We can't make jokes like that anymore because Hollywood's actually gonna start doing that. Hold on, I heard a tweet that I don't know how true it is, but this was shared with me.
Are they gonna make a porg movie?
No, it's worse. It's hold on. Okay, here it is. Dora the Explorer movie. With the writer of Neighbors and directed by Michael Bay.
Oh no, produced by Michael Bay.
Or produced by Michael Bay, yeah. Like, that's the kind of stuff that YouTubers joke about. We can't even joke about that anymore, or Hollywood will actually do it.
Is this real life?
Okay. Well, let's answer a few more questions before we get farther. Okay. Does this emoji creep or scare you? I mean, none of the above. They're just little... They're basically PowerPoint clip arts.
I like the one that has like a Mario nose.
I just noticed that. That's like the Pinocchio. And then you got...
What is spooky in his nose?
What is the scariest animal you ever seen? I have a couple, but I can't remember their names right now.
I don't know actually. The only thing I could think of, like at least at this moment, is just camel spiders.
Well, like the deep sea creatures for sure. Like there's the prehistoric sharks and stuff, and there's I'm gonna make sure I get the name right. Architeuthis, right?
You know what scares me even more though than like actual animals? You know those like most likely fake pictures of like kind of like animals with like the night vision kind of look to it, but like really blurry and it look like they're deformed or something like that. That scares me more, honestly, because like that's probably fake, and then they go to sleep at night. 5 minutes later, it's like, but what if they real?
Okay. So here's one that I'm gonna say right now, and that's Architeuthis duck, which is basically a giant squid. Only, do you know how big giant squid are?
Yeah, like they're massive.
They eat whales. Like, they're the largest consumer of blue whale.
Yeah, like they're fucking insanely big.
Tentacles have washed up on the beach, and they're literally the size of the beach.
Yeah, it's just like insane.
Yeah.
They're like the equivalent of like actual colossuses, but they live in the sea.
It's literally like, hey, you know like those monsters from Pacific Rim? Well, here's a fucking squid one. That's just, there's a bunch of them in the ocean that you'll never see, but they're there going toe-to-toe with blue whales. And winning.
Yeah, and winning. Take a big robot and punch it in the face a couple times.
Yeah.
That'll do him.
And then, who's your favorite C-3PO or R2-D2? R2-D2, of course.
R2-D2. C-3PO's a fucking bitch. He's like he can only like waddle most of the time anyways. Like R2 has like rollers.
Could we please do a C-3PO roast?
Yeah, C-3PO's like a fucking pansy asshole.
If this wasn't the Halloween special and it wouldn't get demonetized, I'd love to call this podcast C-3PO is a bitch.
Yeah, because he is. He is. He like R2D2 is always like trying to get him out of like the situations, and then C3PO is like, "You stupid old robot, you're getting me into trouble," and then R2D2 is like, "The fuck, man! I'm trying to help you, and you're being a piece of shit to me."
Okay,
Cool.
we also need
Probably
to do
trash
like
asshole.
a redub of you voicing R2D2 and C3PO, and it's just like R2D2's going, "The fuck, dude."
You fuck! I'm trying to help you, asshole.
That would
What
be
is your
amazing.
favorite thing about R2D2? What is my favorite thing about R2D2? His personality. Also
His voice.
His voice.
You said his eyes, I said his voice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Only he doesn't have eyes.
Exactly, that's the best part. Okay,
Yeah.
so Luke, I'm gonna have you talk about this. Have you seen Stranger Things Season 2 yet?
I have the ability to, but I haven't because of another series which I'll talk about as a quick special mention. But,
Okay.
no, but I have seen the first season, though, which is really good. It's actually really, really good stuff.
I'm still watching the first season right now. I
Cool.
I was gonna try and finish it before Season 2 started, but then life happened like it normally does.
Yeah.
So
I mean, life always happens, so yeah.
anyway.
But yeah.
So
but season 1 is really good. I really like it. It's kind of it has a lot of just kind of homages to 80s culture and all that, but it also kind of has a lot of its own thing, which I really like, because it has like a lot of surrealist like sequences in it that work actually pretty well, and characters are really fun and enjoyable. The acting isn't like the best thing ever, but like it shines through in a number of moments, so it's fine. I kind of think the story gets a bit unnecessarily complicated in some parts, but it's still good. Even if there was one episode that was like, this is unbearable to sit through. I can't remember which one it was, but like there was one where there was like a character who's like, "Oh no, he's dead," or whatever, and it's like, "Oh wait, no, he's fake. Oh no." But yeah. Overall it's good. I like it. I haven't seen the second season, but I will after I can fucking find a way to pirate the next show I'm trying to get. Or something, I don't know. Anyways. Any thoughts for you?
I mean, I'm still watching it. So far, I'm enjoying it. But I'm like, ugh. I don't want to even say what episode I'm on. Because I started over the summer, and it would just, I'd feel ashamed. But.
You just say, like, I'm on episode 2.
3. But, whatever. Okay.
Oh. That's fine. You know what?
Yeah.
Like,
you know what? 3 months, 3 episodes. It works.
Yeah. An episode a month. At this rate, you'll be watching the full series in about 2 years.
Yep.
But,
still probably before the next season of Rick and Morty comes out. Anyway.
Yeah. But the reason I'm not watching Stranger Things is because of another show, which I really absolutely love right now, is the comedy series on a channel called Viceland, which mostly does kind of like non-fictional kind of like news-based stuff. It's a series called Why Are You Giving Me the Middle Finger? What did I do to you?
Wait, and did you say that's on Vice?
Viceland.
Yeah, okay.
But basically Vice. But the series is called Nirvana, the Band, the Show. And I'll explain to you why it's called that. Yeah, so essentially it's kind of like a series in the style of something like The Office or Borat, and it's about like a group of these 2 musicians that are trying to get a show at this restaurant, like this kind of semi-meh restaurant that they think is like, oh, this is going to be our breakout hit, we got to do this, we got to find a way to do it, and they are the most idiotic, like clueless people possible, and it's great. The reason they have a band called Nirvana the Band is because they legitimately didn't know there was already a band called Nirvana, and that's why it's Nirvana the Show. It's even Nirvana with 2 N's, so that's why they had to change it.
That's
and
great.
It's great because like, and the great thing about it is it's kind of like it's a comedy series where all the situational like stuff that's like really stupid, but they do it most of the time like in actual like public areas. Like they stay in character for most of it. Like they'll do, like they did a sequence where they were going to a library, and I guess like one of the things was like they were trying to get a prop for like a set, and they were like, we can't find any props for guns anywhere. It's like, we'll just 3D print a gun at the library. And so they go to the library, and they actually ask like the people there's like, hey, can we 3D print a gun? And it's like reactions from the actual people there. It's not just like actors.
That's awesome.
And it's great. And that's where it kind of does like the Borat style, but it's just great. And like yesterday, the second season came out, and I was super excited. Except for I kind of forgot that the fact that the show's made in Canada, like the actual episode probably won't release in America till like next week or something.
Okay.
But I can guarantee that basically, probably no one has seen the show, at least on chat or on the channel, I'd assume. But it's great. You can find it on Vice if you have like Xfinity. You can watch it. And yeah, it's great. Watch the first season. It's pretty fucking fantastic. And they actually have like a lot of clever tie-ins to their old episodes and like clever film montage, like film references and stuff like that. It's super good and fucking hilarious, and I would wholeheartedly recommend it.
Yeah, well, Vice normally puts out some pretty good stuff. From what I have seen. I haven't seen all their stuff, or even the majority. Not even close to the majority. I've only seen a couple of things, but it seems like it's pretty good quality.
Yeah, like the only reason I have known of Vice was because of the people who work on this show, because they also made a couple of 2 other movies on Vice, I think. One of them, which I have talked at length to you about, was Operation Avalanche.
Yep.
Which, oh god, it's so great. Like the thing about the show is so great is that like there's scenarios that's like, oh god, I really want to talk about how like a fucking like ingenious idea they had. But since like nobody has seen the show, it's kind of like I gotta not spoil it. But they do something with the fact that they actually finished their movie while they were filming the series, and so they kind of actually do something with that, which I could tell you about for anybody who isn't interested. But I feel like there might be some people. So
we'll hold off on that for now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Watch it. It's fucking great.
So. Before we move on to gaming, got another comment. Can you scream like a little girl? Yes, watch the first part of Winning Minecraft on the J4U Gaming channel. And you will see that happen.
For me, probably watch the second episode of Outlast 2 when the witch shows up. Except it's not a like full-on scream, it's like a concealed scream.
Well, and my scream overshadows your scream.
Basically, yeah. Well, more like you're falling onto the floor over screaming. So, yeah.
Okay, well, on gaming news, here on the Just For You Studios channel, we just finished Destiny 2, the campaign. Now, we still have one more live stream to do before DLC comes out, and that's going to be the raid. But that's going to be a huge, huge thing that we're not gonna worry about for a little while. Because, again, the raid is the hardest part of that game and is going to take about 4 hours to complete. So, so we have about one more stream, but with that said, we're going to pick a new game to start playing and doing live streams in. So there's currently a poll on Twitter, and if you comment in the chat, I'll count that vote as well. But you can let us know what game you want to play, or want us to play. And let me pull up the options right here. Let me grab... So, actually, I should remember them. So, the options are Shadow of War, Star Wars Battlefront 2, Call of Duty World War II, and Assassin's Creed Origin. So, those are the 4 choices. Luke, have you voted in the poll yet?
Oh, yeah, I think so. I forgot what it was I chose.
You don't have to say what you chose. I was just wondering if you...
I'll keep my vote to myself then.
But there's one day left on the Twitter poll, so you guys still have 1 day to go ahead and vote on it. But there is definitely one game that has a very hefty lead right now, and it is not the game I expected. I'm not going to say what it is because I don't want to sway votes, but yeah, we got to... Unless a big change happens, we have a clear winner.
Yeah.
But... Alright, so now going officially onto the gaming side, we have Shadow of War to talk about. So, Shadow of War, I was a big fan of Middle-earth's Shadow of Mordor. I really enjoyed that game. It was a lot of fun. Did not come close to finishing it, but that's only because that game, there was so much for you to do outside of the main story. It was a game, It was one of those games where you could literally just run around for hours doing all the different side quests and side missions and all that kind of stuff. So, like, I didn't even come close to beating the campaign. And also, if you don't know, the biggest thing about Shadow of Mordor that really changed up how you play it is the fact that if you die, there are serious consequences for that. It's not like another game where you go back to a previous checkpoint and start over. No, if you die, it basically undoes all of your progress. Because the whole game, you're trying to take out all these captains and chieftains, trying to work your way up this hierarchy of the orc army to try and take out the big bad. But if you die, the person who killed you gets a promotion. They level up, become stronger, all that kind of stuff. And then all the empty spots that you killed, basically, they all get reshuffled with new orcs, and everyone levels up, basically. So, if you die, you are screwed and have to make up several hours of work at least.
I remember I played Shadow of Mordor a little bit, like, when it came out, and I'm shitty at video games, and so, like, I died at least 3 times just trying to get, like, the lower people, like, and it's, like, I feel like I'm fucking screwing up this whole system for these people. It's like, goddamn, now we gotta change it again.
But it's awful. It's amazing that your death has consequences. But it makes the game so difficult on really any difficulty you pick. Because the goal is then not to die, like, ever when you're playing the game.
It's kind of a... Dying is a hard thing to do sometimes.
Yeah, but that's Shadow of Mordor, which actually did pretty well on the channel. And Shadow of War looks freaking great because they added a whole new system to where basically it's army warfare. You build an army and you have to fight another army with that army. And I just think that's awesome. Kind of like the Assassin's Creed games tried this, but they could never get it to work well. Shadow of War, from what I've seen, the system works really well. Because you can have soldiers, you level up your soldiers, they go into battle with you. And it's a really cool thing. If they die, they die. But I just find that system so fascinating.
It's kind of like I kind of like this actually going away from the playstyle of the original Shadow of Mordor and doing kind of like a different thing now.
I will say, the beginning of the game is very Shadow of War, because you don't have that army yet, but as soon as it takes a while to start building that army, but once you have that army, it's a totally different game.
It's like something kind of new altogether.
And, because I have seen the beginning of the walkthrough for Shadow of War, it takes place literally seconds after the first game ended. It's like, it's one of those sequels where it's like, you're literally, the time in between games was basically someone hitting pause and then play again when you start the second game.
This is kind of like a bit of a small gap between the two in that sense.
But, yeah, I think I would be interested to get my hands on it. Not saying we will get it, but it looks really fun. Next on the list, we have Evil Within 2, which, first off, I just want to say, holy crap, you guys. Apparently, we have some Evil Within fans on the channel, because that's one of our most popular trailer reactions.
Yeah, I saw that. It's like, Jesus, that's a lot of views on there for that one.
I didn't put it on the list of games, but if you guys want us to play it, we can consider it.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind possibly trying it out. You know?
Yeah. But let us know.
It could be fun.
Yeah. So what do you know about Evil Within 2, Luke?
Actually, not really all that much, but I do know that it is developed by the guy who worked on like some of the original Resident Evil games.
It's very Resident Evil-like. Yes.
It's very much Resident Evil in the Resident Evil 4 kind of way.
I'd almost... I'd almost say it's like a mix between some Silent Hill and some Resident Evil. Like, if you were to combine Resident Evil 4 with a little bit of, I don't know which Silent Hill it would be. One of the Silent Hills.
Yeah.
That's kind of Evil Within. At least the first one.
Alright.
Because I looked into the first one when it came out, and overall, I was kind of underwhelmed, but the second game seems interesting. But, you know, who knows? We'll see.
Yeah.
Anyway. Go ahead.
But yeah, like, it seems like it could be kind of a fun game. I also kind of like the somewhat gothic look of the game, whereas, like, most horror games kind of go for the more of just, like, dingy, very decrepit look, whereas this one's more like, ooh, gothic horror.
Yeah, very gothic horror.
Yeah, and it looks pretty cool.
Alright, well,
willing to try it out.
The next game we have on the list is one that I think is freaking hilarious, and that is South Park: The Fractured But Whole. You gotta be careful when you say that. Yes. But whole.
Yeah. You gotta say it's like The Fractured But Whole?
Yeah. So, this is a sequel to The Stick of Truth, for everyone who has played that game. I totally skimped out on Stick of Truth, because at the time I wasn't a South Park fan, but since then I've started watching some episodes, and it is hilarious. So I decided to check out...
I have a long history of South Park, actually, because me and my brothers used to... My brothers were a bit older than me, but they used to watch it a good amount when I was actually pretty young, and I was laughing at it when I was probably like 9, and like my parents were like, I don't know if you should be watching that. It's like, it's funny, I guess. But yeah, like now like South Park in some ways have been kind of slightly ingrained in my mind in a weird way. But yeah, sorry, just wanted to.
No, that was some good backstory there. So Fractured But Whole, I will not be playing it on the channel, but if you have not seen any walkthroughs of it, watch some, and then maybe think about playing it yourself, because it is a hilarious game. Like, the first thing you really have to do is create a character. And Luke, do you know how the difficulty meter works?
Oh yeah, the difficulty meter was essentially like
your race.
Your race, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, ooh, that's a harsh one.
Yeah, I think that's hilarious. It's a great social commentary, especially the
like,
little.
Yeah, just like the shade is like how difficult the game actually is. It's like a simple little thing, but they actually did something really fun. And again, like you said, it actually makes like a funny social commentary thing there for people.
Especially the line where they say, "Don't worry, this doesn't affect combat, just every other aspect of your whole life."
Yeah, basically.
I just think that's hilarious.
That was great. But yeah, like it was just like a tiny little thing, but they did something really funny with that. And I haven't seen a lot about the game besides like just seeing that joke, but I'm assuming there's probably a lot of stuff kind of like that.
Oh yeah, there's when you go to pick your gender, it's male, female, other, and if you hit other, it's like a whole cutscene type thing that plays out, because it's the guidance counselor, the guy who you are with.
Yes. Oh yeah.
You're with him. Yeah. Okay. You're with him when you're choosing it, and he is just so surprised. Oh, we got a subscribe that I for some reason didn't pop up on screen. I'll check that out here in a second. But it goes into a whole cutscene where he calls your parents just to let them know. Does a whole bunch of other things like that, and then after that, they have you pick what kind of other, and just has a huge list. Like, what do you sexually identify as? And it's just this really long list.
Oh my god.
And the playthrough I watched a couple of playthroughs, and for some reason everyone always goes with other and then transgender. So as soon as you leave, your next boss battle is against rednecks who are like, "We don't like your kind." and then you have to fight them.
I feel like that would also go with like the different difficulty thing, maybe. But yeah, like that definitely does seem like a South Park thing that they would do.
Yeah, but there's a lot of different jokes like that, and it's hilarious.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And yeah, like I also like that they're able to keep their like the style of the show while still making it like a functioning game.
I mean, it's Ubisoft as well. I'm proud that Ubisoft hasn't gone mad at them for any of it. They're letting them be South Park.
Yeah, they're just letting them do whatever with it, and for the most part, they're doing like most of it's working pretty well on that sense.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I kind of wonder if the gameplay is all that great though. Is one thing.
It's actually better than the last game, from what I've heard from people who've played it.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
It looked aesthetically like great and like writing stuff, but yeah, like I was looking at the gameplay like.
It's a turn-based combat thing, so you basically have all these cards that are different attacks and do different things. So it's kind of more of that strategy turn-based thing.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so we got some questions here. Nick, will you make a Dark of the Moon type Transcrafters? Yes. Don't worry. Transcrafters Season 3 is coming. Don't you worry about that. Do you know who Chucky is? If so, then describe him. Creepy?
Okay. He's a doll with a grown man's voice.
Mm-hmm.
He kills people.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you want us to describe him, but unless you're talking about Chuck E. Cheese, in which I still stand by creepy.
And also, doll with grown man's voice killing people.
That still kind of stands by Chuck E. Cheese as well, actually.
Yeah. Nick, you make a Dark of the Moon type trench.
Yeah, I already answered that one.
Like, okay. And, hey, Nick, can you answer my question?
Yeah.
Just did.
Oh, and you subscribed. Well, thank you for that. I was just digging through trying to find that. I appreciate it. Okay.
Thank you. You seem like a nice boy.
Did you just assume their gender?
Oh, no!
No. They sexually identify as an Apache helicopter. Thank you very much. We just had that whole discussion about the South Park game.
Yeah, I sexually identify as a tortoiseshell. And that I'm hard and don't do anything.
Okay, well, next on the list, we have Destiny 2 for PC. And, again, we just finished playing Destiny 2. I'm a huge fan of it. But the Destiny 2 PC game is doing something really interesting that I honestly think more games should do. So it came out for Xbox first, and with most games, they just use a port and they port it over to PC. But they basically remade the whole game for PC. They had one team working on it for Xbox and another team working on it for PC. So when you're playing Destiny on PC, that game was made for PC.
Yeah.
Which
it was specifically made for that.
I think is fantastic. I mean, if you look at the Arkham games are the best example of it. The company that made those, they just ported it over. They made it for Xbox and then just ported it so it would work on PC. And then every year, the first couple months, you couldn't play it on PC because it was not ported properly.
Yeah, like it was really poorly optimized and such.
Mm-hmm. So I'm so glad that Destiny took the time and the effort to rebuild the game from scratch to make sure it would play well on PC. And not only play well, it is going to play amazingly because it has an uncapped frame rate. So in theory, if you had a good enough computer, you could play it on a couple hundred frames a second. And it is 4K. Like, there are so many things about that that are just like, yes. With that said, does kind of suck that they could do all that for PC, but Xbox is capped at 30 FPS. It just kind of tells you the difference between Microsoft and people, well, not even Microsoft, Xbox and the people who build their own PCs.
Yeah.
The fact that the amateurs can have unlimited frames, and the people who have a whole company based off it can only do 30 for the same game.
Yeah, basically.
But no, Destiny 2, if you have a PC that's good enough to play it, I recommend playing it 100%.
Yeah, probably most games that I've heard about like usually do better in that sense with like PC and such. Like depending on like how it's like been made, of course. But yeah, like in that sense.
Yeah.
Do it.
And then, are we on finally? Yes, finally on the. Oh no, we're not finally. Sorry. I was just very confused because it autocorrected my notes, Wolfenstein to Wildstein. And I read that as Weinstein. Weinstein the game. Yeah, that would be a R-rated game for sure.
Oh no. Oh no.
Do you see that on Discord though? How it autocorrected Wolfenstein?
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, I feel like it needs to be mentioned or anything. But you did it already, so that's it's like my job here is done.
Okay. Well, anyway, Assassin's Creed Origins. So, Dylan hopped in here a little while ago because he actually got the game opening night. And he's been playing it some today. And first off, he says it's beautiful. I totally get that because on, I think PC maybe and Xbox, but I doubt it. For PC, for sure, it's a 4K game. I'll say some of the cutscenes don't look like it, but they claim it's 4K. But overall, from like general, like if you're looking out of the distance or looking at objects, it looks beautiful. Those graphics look great. For some reason, the pre-rendered cutscenes that I've seen haven't looked great. Everything else about the game looks beautiful. So I don't know what that's about. Granted, what I was watching was the early access, so who knows? Maybe they're still cleaning it up at that point, but...
Maybe.
Anyway, the things I want to talk about here, though, is the combat style. They totally redesigned it for this Assassin's Creed game, because if you don't know, they used to do the Assassin's Creed games, one, and then when they are nearing the end of that run, 2 Assassin's Creed games a year, to the point where they were just milking them out. Those last several games were not good. So they said, you know what? Really? We hear you. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a whole year off. And we'll be back in 2 years with a new Assassin's Creed game that we're going to make sure is good. And then this is what they came up with. And I'm going to be honest. It's 4K enhanced for Xbox One. Oh, Xbox One X. Okay, that makes sense. Okay. But yeah, so... the combat system for Assassin's Creed Origins, they totally redesigned it, and I love it so much. It's the other Assassin's Creed games. It was basically run in there, mash the X button. If you see someone about to hit you, hit Y, and then mash the X button some more. This game is not like that. Luke, are you familiar with For Honor?
For Honor?
Yeah, or at least that combat system?
Not entirely, no.
Okay, so it's basically, it's not like you hit one button and you just attack. In For Honor, it was you can hit from the left side, the right side, or down the middle. And then if you want to block, how do you want to block? Left side, right side, or down the middle. Assassin's Creed, it's not like that exactly, but it's kind of that level of, it's not just you run in there and hit the button. You have to time your attacks, because like some weapons, they hit and do more damage but take longer, leaving you exposed for longer amounts of time. So you have to plan your attack so that you'll recover with enough time to block. Because enemies that I've seen people just go in against the standard, whatever NPCs, and those NPCs can kill you in 2 to 3 hits. So it's to where it's a lot more strategic. You have to play it. You can't just run in there and start hitting people, because they are going to absolutely destroy you. Like 1v1 versus 1v4 makes a heck of a difference.
Don't come in guns or blades of blazing, I guess, in a sense, since it's Assassin's Creed, and you'll probably just get like your shit kicked in like pretty quickly, whereas you gotta gotta think about it a bit more logically and like, oh, what do I think this guy is gonna do next? I'd assume.
But yeah, it's a really interesting combat system. And then when you kill people, there's a whole looting system to where you can get new weapons that do more damage or do whatever, and it'll increase your level. And your level actually means something. Like I was watching a video where there was a guy whose character was level 13, and going up against a level 15, he could barely kill him. Because the level 15 one-shotted him.
Wow. Like... I just him pretty quickly, too.
Yeah. It was literally the level 15 was a captain. The guy ran up, stabbed him a couple times. The captain raised his axe, brought it down, and just killed him instantly. That's a 2-level difference. So, like, combat and levels mean something in this game, which I think is amazing. In a previous Assassin's Creed game, you just run up, stabby stab, they hit you a couple times, you run away, run back over, stabby stab a couple more times, rinse and repeat. Like, the combat was never anything too special, in my opinion. Especially after the Arkham games came out and totally one-upped them. Because Assassin's Creed, their biggest thing was you can go stealth, or if you decide to fight, you can counter. What? And then they had that same formula for 5 years or so.
Yeah.
So... I'm glad that this game is different. And also, if they're higher level, you have it's something like you have less of a chance to do a successful sneak attack. But, like, there's a lot of things, there's so many different elements to the fighting that makes it so great. You can actually see how much a weapon will do, so you can be strategic about, like, which weapons you use against people, like... Oh, he's susceptible to arrows, and you can point your bow at him, and it'll say, oh, it will do this much damage to him, versus this bow, which will do this much damage to him. Like, it's things like that I find really cool.
Yeah. I'm kind of glad that's doing its own thing now, instead of, like, the other ones where it's just, like, Command C, Command V for the entire series.
Exactly. Okay, so here we go. We got some more comments. I'm going to read Dylan's first, just because he actually has the game. He says, it's 4K enhanced on Xbox One. There was one shot that they had towards the beginning of the game where I just had to sit there and take it in. Yeah, I believe that. The game looks, like, atmosphere-wise, how Egypt is made looks very beautiful. It actually takes practice to learn how to attack enemies, which I think is amazing. Like, you can't just run in and hit X. You actually have to learn, okay, I need to learn how to fight, not just what button does what, but, like, the timing of it all. Then we got, Nick, will you be Subwoofer or Skystrike? I am not going to answer that question yet. We have an answer. I'm not going to give it out until either the trailer for Transcrafters Season 3 or Episode 0.5. And then we also got, you should play Resident Evil Biohazard. Is that the one I haven't heard good things about? Which one is Biohazard?
Oh, the Resident Evil games?
Yeah, which one is Biohazard?
Resident Evil 5 is the bad one.
6 I've heard bad things about too. More bad things I think about 6 even than 5. Oh no, Biohazard 7. Okay, yeah, I'd totally be down to play Biohazard. Sorry, it took me because like I don't know the subtitles very well. Biohazard was an amazing game. I absolutely loved that one.
Nick, if you get Biohazard, tell me. I want to play it, actually.
I'd be down. Would you guys watch a Freaky Friday Resident Evil Biohazard? Let us know, because we might be down to do that. Because the DLC is actually coming out this month for it, I think.
Ooh.
Yeah, but that was an amazingly well-done game, Biohazard.
Yeah. It definitely looks so, at least.
Resident Evil 5 and 6, not good. So that's why I wanted to double-check in my brain what Biohazard was.
To be honest, I don't even really like most parts of 4, in all honesty.
4 was fantastic. I've seen and played 4, and it's great.
Yeah. I just really fucking hate some of the control schemes for that game. For those games, at least.
Yeah.
And this is coming from someone who absolutely loves Silent Hill 2, which has, like, garbage-ass controls, but, like, at least it actually kind of works considering the character that you have. is like some fucking doopy clerk guy who's like, I need to find my wife in Silent Hill.
I mean, you look at the like old Resident Evil games, and the controls just hurt. Like, I think there was one where walk and look was the same thumbstick or something stupid like that.
I think it was like pressing down was moving forward. It had like,
yeah, it's something like that.
It's just
anyway.
Yeah, it's not fun. Not fun at all.
So the next game on the list is not Weinstein 2, Wolfenstein 2. Thank you for that, Discord.
2. Yeah. Well, I mean, there are 2 Weinsteins, so I mean, there's that.
So,
just saying.
We are the von Weinsteins. Take this, Nazis.
Oh man, I feel like we'd be talking about them differently if this was what they were known for. But Wolfenstein, yeah.
Yes. Are you familiar with the Wolfenstein games?
I know that they were like one of the first-person shooter games like to ever exist, and it was like paved the way and all that stuff, and also that's a game about killing Nazis.
Yeah.
And that's literally all I know.
It's basically, it takes place in a universe where Nazis won World War II. So it's basically what the world would be like in Nazi control, and then basically the resistance are the people who are fighting Nazis that you play as. But like the Nazis, they were like really advanced in their technology for the time, so it's like, okay, so if they won, technology would be crazy, but it would be all for the sake of like ruling over everybody else. So, like in that game, there are mechs and stuff. I just watched some of the gameplay. It's also, the game is absurd. Like, it's totally one of those games, like, if Michael Bay made a game, like, the insanity level is they let you just have fun with it. I mean, it's a game where you kill Nazis. They want you to have fun in it.
Basically, yeah.
But the intro to Wolfenstein 2 is your character at the end of Wolfenstein 1, he got majorly messed up. I don't want to say how in case it's a spoiler, because there was a lot of DLC for the last Wolfenstein game that you needed to get caught up on. But basically, this game takes place a couple months after that, and you're waking up from a coma, and your character is too weak to walk, so guess how you play the first level?
How?
You're rolling around in a wheelchair, holding a machine gun. So you're just rolling around killing Nazis in a wheelchair, one-handing a machine gun.
That's something like fucking Sam Raimi would do. That sounds amazing.
It is. It is so great because the hardest part of that level that I've seen so far is when your wheelchair falls downstairs and you're just laying on the ground shooting Nazis trying to get to your wheelchair.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
Like you're crawling to your chair while trying to shoot Nazis at the same time.
I mean, it was way... I have never played a Wolfenstein game, but seeing the beginning of Wolfenstein 2, it looks complicated. Like, the lore behind it is complex. Like, that person died, but the Nazis brought him back! And then they're making you choose a person here, and then you got that split reality. That person died, but they're back again. Now, it's like, it's so crazy. But, like, universe is also hilarious, because there's a whole cutscene that imagine it's kind of like a wide shot where you're seeing the two characters talk, but in the background there's a window, and one of the characters set up basically a hidden thing that, like, I'm trying to think of how to explain it. You walk past it, and it basically disintegrates people as they walk past as a security measure. So the Nazis are trying to get to them, and just getting disintegrated. Like, you're seeing Nazis sneak up. Exactly. Not relate. Like, the two characters aren't acknowledging it at all. They're having a serious conversation of what's happened between the two games. And meanwhile, in the background, these Nazis are trying to sneak up on them and just getting evaporated.
Yeah, just, like, being, like, completely, like, poofing out of existence.
Like, there's one who's literally tiptoeing with his back against the wall. And then you just see an oh shit face, and then he disintegrates. It's absurd.
That's great.
Like, it's Gmod level of tiptoe, by the way. Like, knees up to his chest and all that.
Oh, like the fucking Gmod like animation.
Yeah, like it's that level of hilarious. I was not expecting that from a game as gory as Wolfenstein, because it's also gory as hell. Like in the opening, one of the opening scenes, you're getting surgery where they're pulling out intestines and stuff with like next gen graphics.
Ew, that nice intestine physics.
Like, and also from what I've seen of the previous games, it is very gory. But yeah, I'm as someone who's never played a Wolfenstein game, what I've seen of Wolfenstein 2 has thoroughly impressed me. Like, I don't think I'd pay $60 for it, but I'd totally sit down and watch somebody play it. I totally want to see the game from start to end. Like, it looks interesting, I guess I'd say.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like it would be entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
Let alone play.
I mean, literally, when the first level of your game is somebody killing Nazis while driving around in a wheelchair, how is that game not going to be fun?
Yeah, no, right? And also, it picked like a really good time to make a game about Nazis, just to say. But yeah, it's so stupid that you can just shoot them in a wheelchair. Is there like any other silly situations?
Again, I'm literally in the first 20 minutes of the game. That's everything I just talked about is in the first 20 minutes.
That's great.
Yeah, I have not a clue what else is in the rest of the game.
Yeah. Ooh, who knows?
So, yeah, I'm thoroughly intrigued, though, I guess I'll say.
Yeah.
Okay. Finally, on the end of gaming, Luke, I'm going to let you take this away since this is your kind of game. We got Mario Odyssey.
Mario Odyssey, a fucking 3D platformer Mario game that's not kind of thing, which made me really happy, except for the fact that I don't have a Switch, so I can't really play it. So I spent most of this day watching a stream of people playing Mario Odyssey and just being sad and sitting in my bed. But yeah, like, it looks super nice, and it looks like the control schemes are just as fun. Like, the new control aspects are also just as fun, it looks like. And visually, it looks beautiful. And yeah, it just... I'm excited for it, even though I'll never be able to play it properly. I mean, I guess I could, like, mooch off someone's Switch for, like, a day or something, but yeah. It looks super fun. Mario is wearing a bathing suit, and you can see his nipples, and people made a million jokes about this, so I'm just gonna leave it at that. And yeah, it looks super fun. It does look a little bit more open world than seems to be kind of a thing with, like, Nintendo games recently. It's like innovating in, like, a more open sense, and it looks interesting. I don't know if I'm completely on board with it, because from some of the video stuff, it makes it seem like there's not as much platforming, but more like walking around places. But I don't know. It looks fun, though. I'd play it.
I mean, yeah.
It's fucking Mario, dude. Like,
yeah, and Mario games I've played since I was little. Like, that was the game that me and my brother bond over.
I remember fond memories of Mario Galaxy and being fucking blown away by that. I mean, I even still have Mario Galaxy, except I can't play it because I can't find the fucking charger for my Wii U. Anyways. But yeah, Mario games are always, like, special. Especially if they're 3D platformers, because I fucking love 3D platformers. And they don't make them anymore because they're hard to make. But guess what? They're fun. So fuck you guys for not trying.
I mean, to be fair, they did put out Crash Bandicoot, the remaster of that. And there's there's Odyssey. So there are 3D platformers, just not as many as there could be.
Yeah.
You get like one or two a year.
Yeah. And hopefully it'll be good if it's not Mario, which is most of the time, like, it'll be pretty good. Unless if it's, like, a 3DS, like, Mario Party game, then those are the ones that usually are, like,
Okay, so we're going to try and breeze past news here, because I figured this podcast would be 2 hours, and we're at the 1 hour 40-minute mark. So we're not going to talk about the news a whole lot. We're going to do what we normally do, and that's bring it up so that if you want to look at it further, you can. We'll just kind of throw it out there, give our quick opinion, and then move on.
Yeah,
so
mostly because like most of the stuff doesn't seem to be the most uplifting stuff.
No, except for the first one. The first one is freaking amazing, and that's the Asian Jake Paul Content Cop. Now, if you guys have not seen this, please, 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 oh god, watch it. I 100% guarantee that you should. This is basically, if you're not aware of iDubbbz or who iDubbbz is, he's a content creator here on YouTube who is, I want to say, underrated. Granted, he has, 5 million subs right now, so it's hard to call him underrated. Yeah. But he has that many subs, yet I feel like not many people really know what his content's about. He does a lot of collabs with Filthy Frank. He's part of that group, the Max Mofo, Filthy Frank's crew. But on his own channel, he has a series called Content Cop, where basically he calls out YouTube channels that are doing some shady shit and just says, hey, I feel like you're doing this, so I'm going to criticize you for that. And he is...
Yeah, in a good way.
Yeah, he is, it's a good thing, because he has destroyed channels with this, but it's channels that, frankly, are good to be destroyed. Like, channels that are literally tearing apart this platform. Not all, like... It really depends on the audience, because if it's for a YouTuber, he can't, like, for instance, okay, I'm really going all over the place with this, but he couldn't do it on someone like Jake Paul, because Jake Paul is still growing at an alarming rate. The channel needs to be at the right point for it to take the most effect. For instance, Leafy was one of the first people he did a content cop on. And he did that, and it absolutely decimated Leafy's channel. But here, if you look at Keemstar, he did one on Keemstar when Keemstar was at its height. And yes, it brought Keemstar's numbers down drastically. But if you look, the Drama Alert channel is still surviving. And that's because you can recover from a content cop. It's not game over or anything. It just depends on your audience. And the Rice Gum, which if you don't know, that's who Asian Jake Paul is. Rice Gum Content Cop basically is iDubbbz exposing all the shady stuff that Rice Gum has done. And afterwards, if you watched a Rice Gum video, the like versus dislike bar was a complete joke. It was like likes were at 5 to 10% and dislikes were at 95 to 90%. He was losing subscribers at a drastic rate. Since then, he has, I don't want to say recovered, because the numbers aren't where they were before the Content Cop, but he's no longer losing subscribers. He's slightly gaining. Like, it's to the point where he was gaining tens of thousands of subscribers a day. Now he's lucky if, the last time I saw his numbers, he was lucky to pull in a net gain of 100 subscribers. Like, it was insane. The first day, he lost, I think, close to 16,000 subs. And then it just kept on going down and down and down, and then started pulling back up. I haven't looked at it recently. But, yeah, I could talk about that for a whole podcast. But please go watch the iDubbbz Content Cop. It's fantastic. And then he even did a content deputy on it. There are some big names in the Content Cops I'm not going to give away because the reveal is too great. But watch it. Luke, have you seen the Content Cop yet?
I have not yet, but I should check that out.
We'll watch it after the podcast. I'll send you a link.
Alright, cool.
So now leaving the uplifting side of things.
Joke. Yeah.
We have...
Let's get into...
We have the Weinstein and Andy Signore allegations that have come out recently. So Andy Signore, who I'm going to call Screen Junkies right now, because if you watch Screen Junkies, he's one of, if not the main people that you'll probably recognize, because he is the voice behind the Honest Trailers videos.
Yeah.
He's the In a World deep voice guy. And he was pretty high up.
No, Andy Signore's like the guy who runs Honest Trailers but doesn't do the voice.
Oh, he doesn't do the voice? Okay, my bad.
No, Gano.
Okay.
Yeah. He just runs.
Yeah, thank you for clarifying.
Which is good because I like voice guy.
Yeah, but so he just runs honest trailers, and he's a big name behind the Screen Junkies and Defy media platform. And there were some serious sexual harassment allegations that came out about him, and then even greater for Weinstein, who, if you don't know who Weinstein is, he's
like every single person possible.
He's a big name in Hollywood. And the interesting thing about Weinstein is, it was kind of one of those well-kept, everyone in Hollywood kind of knew about it to an extent. And here's my opinion about it. As someone who's kind of in the industry, it does make sense, especially the fact that everyone kind of knew about it. I don't think they knew that it was that serious of a problem. People, from what I've heard, I've looked at a lot of the different stories of people who either claimed, Hollywood knew about it, or claimed people didn't know about it. And I think the general consensus is a lot of people knew that he was the kind of guy who wanted to sleep with a bunch of people. They didn't know that he used his power, though, to kind of get his way with women. He didn't use it, and people just thought, Weinstein, he's a charismatic guy who somehow gets ladies into bed, but they never stopped to realize, he corruptly uses his power to get women. That's my opinion on it.
Yeah, and also just, take advantage of people in general.
Yeah.
And, the fact that, and I feel like the main reason why this was sort of a well-kept secret is the fact that if anyone did say anything about it, he was, a big member of Weinstein, so he could basically ruin their careers.
Exactly. Not even basically. He 100% could ruin their career. James Gunn is one of the... James Gunn, I think, has had the most interesting story about Weinstein. And that's because he knew about Weinstein, and it was to where his girlfriend, or wife, I don't know which at the time, in the past was sexually harassed by Weinstein. But she didn't want James Gunn to come out and start telling people about Weinstein because she didn't want that to hurt James Gunn's career. And then James Gunn has also had family members who have been harassed by Weinstein. And he's put out a memo that he's been secretly 4 months collecting basically data on who and how many people Weinstein has had relations with to build a case against Weinstein. So James Gunn came out and said, hey, let me help contribute, because now that I'm able to talk about it, I'm going to sing like a canary about it.
I'm gonna basically fucking blast this at 11 and...
Because from his report, every single Hollywood party he's gone to since he made it into the business, he subtly has tried to bring up Weinstein to get numbers of how many people have been affected by him.
Huh.
And considering he's a director for Marvel, and one of their biggest ones, imagine how many different social events he's been to where he could get numbers like that.
Yeah, get the people and the details sort of thing.
Because this hasn't, from what he said, his statement, this isn't even so much a side project for him. This has been something that he's been working on for a long time now. So it was freaking, well, I don't want to say it was Christmas when the allegations came out, but when the allegations came out, he was now I can unload.
More open season.
Yeah, it's open season. And he can finally come out with everything he's been collecting on Weinstein. So I think that's interesting. The other case that has been interesting, but not a good interesting, was Ben Affleck came out with his statement saying, I was unaware about Weinstein's problem. I'm very ashamed. But then one of the victims replied to him on Twitter and said, you are a liar. You know about it, and you told me not to come forward about it.
Yeah.
So, digging a little bit deeper, some other accounts state that, yes, Ben Affleck did know and he did lie, but he was one of Weinstein's closest, I don't know if I want to call them friends, but maybe colleagues, who has been for years trying to, collaborators, I guess, someone, though, important in Weinstein's life, who has been trying to get Weinstein to stop doing this for years. So he's known, but he's been saying, there's a quote that came out where, apparently, a woman told Ben Affleck that Weinstein sexually harassed them, and Ben Affleck's response was, "God damn it, I told him to stop doing that to people."
That's not the sort of thing you make the. Yeah, god damn it, that guy. You gotta stop doing that, though.
Yeah, but it's
could have used a better response.
So, like, I find both cases equally interesting. There's the Ben Affleck who didn't want to come public with it, but had been doing the friend, "Hey, man, could we talk about this whole thing you're doing with women? It's not cool." And Weinstein's like, "Oh, yeah, I'll stop," and then kept doing it, apparently, is the Ben Affleck case scenario.
Yeah.
And then the James Gunn, who might as well come out with a content cop on Weinstein at this point, with all the data he's been secretly gathering, because apparently he's had a crusade against Weinstein at this point. They'll be interested to see, but yeah, and then there's
actually, you know, it's funny that you mentioned it.
Mm-hmm.
James Gunn should do like a content cop. He kind of looks like an older version of iDubbbz spiked up hair.
Yeah, but go ahead. If you're going to look up anything with Weinstein, look into James Gunn's posts about it, because I found that very interesting. That he knew about it, but he didn't come forward, because he would have come forward if it was on his terms. But he was requested not to by someone who was affected, so he was respecting their wishes.
And besides, if he did come out like that day, he wouldn't have been able to get like all that fuck tons of information about like all the other people that were also affected by this.
Yeah, because I really am wondering like how he plays that into conversations. Like, "Hey, so you guys know Weinstein, right?" And just pulls out a notepad. Like, I find that just fascinating.
I like to think, because actually, like, the Weinsteins have been kind of a reputation for being kind of assholes. So I like to think it's like, Weinstein's, am I right? And then like everyone laughs, starts talking about it, and then he starts like writing it down.
Yeah, but anyway.
And that's how we get it.
Next on the list, we have YouTube favoritism for monetization. So this one's very interesting. Casey Neistat put out a video after the Las Vegas shooting that was about 3 minutes, where he just said, "Hey, I'm going to be doing a fundraiser. Please donate. All the proceeds go to survivors of the Vegas shooting." But he also said all the AdSense money that comes off of this video will also be given to the victims. But YouTube demonetized that video because he talked about a tragedy.
Yeah.
Even though the tragedy was, you know, to spread awareness of and help the people, I guess, who are victims.
Yeah, and like
YouTube still demonetized it. But the interesting thing that came out was Philip DeFranco posted a tweet where he basically showed a Jimmy Kimmel video where Jimmy Kimmel was talking about the Las Vegas shooting. And that video was not demonetized.
Yeah.
So, YouTube basically blew up, and for a long time, the only response YouTube had was to Casey Neistat's post that was basically, "Yeah, we know it was for a good cause, but our rules are our rules and we stand by them." Then meanwhile, you look at the Jimmy Kimmel video.
You see in the chat that emoji, the thinking face? That's what I'm currently feeling right now.
Yeah.
As you just told me that.
So YouTube, they took their sweet time coming up with a response, but their response was basically that Jimmy Kimmel arranged, or his company, not him especially, but his company arranged to have sponsors on that video. Like they worked with the actual companies. It wasn't YouTube who was selling the ads. It was Jimmy Kimmel's company who sold the ads and promised that, yeah, we'll get you this ad spot on the YouTube video. So YouTube said yes to that. With that said, that still shouldn't even be allowed under YouTube's current policy, which is what YouTube's trying to tell companies, like, hey, no, don't do that. Don't, though they're not really dropping the iron fist like they did with Casey Neistat. It's more the, no, you shouldn't do that. It's not a tragedy. What? No. Because YouTube, I'm pretty sure, I don't remember if this is the case, I'm pretty sure, though, they still get money off of it. Because it's on their website. So they still get a cut of it. So that's where it gets a little bit schemy there. But go ahead, look up the tweets for yourself. They're interesting.
Yeah, it's definitely sounds interesting, and not in a. Maybe like that's cool. More like are you guys fucking serious, dude?
Well, and the thing that makes this the most suspicious for me is, monetization aside, who's always on the top page for trending? It's the late night talk show hosts.
Like Jimmy Kimmel and
yes,
that sort of thing.
Jimmy Kimmel could get 100,000 views in a day on a video and be on the trending page. But another channel that gets 1 million views in a day might not be on that trending page. Like, I have screenshots that's like, one of the videos on trending page that's like, in the top 14 has 2,000 views.
Yeah, like, this is not trending whatsoever. What are you talking about?
And iDubbbz' content cop even. That got 10 million views in, I believe, a day, or in a couple days, or something like that. And that wasn't even #1 on trending.
Wow. Alright.
In the US, let me clarify. In some countries it was. But in the US, they didn't put it on trending. The trending video probably had about 2 million views for that day.
Yeah.
So, I find things like that interesting. Look at the trending page. And then if you look at actual YouTubers, you'll find it interesting. Because gaming videos are rarely or never on the trending page. And I mean like Let's Plays. Trailers, sure. But YouTube will not put a gaming video on the trending page. It could have 5 million views, but they aren't going to put it on there.
And yeah, like, in gaming is like the biggest thing that they have on there. And
it was. Now vloggers have taken that over. But that was because YouTube didn't want gaming to be the most popular thing on the network. So they purposefully did things like the trending page thing I talked about, where gaming wasn't on there.
Yeah.
Because the trending page, I will criticize YouTube on several things. This is one of them. The trending page is purely political. It's not really an earned thing. For example, there was a Philip DeFranco video that absolutely blew up. It was like one of the big news stories. And YouTube had it on the trending page, but then removed it because they didn't like what he was talking about.
Of course, because they never like what anyone's...
They had a BS response that I personally didn't believe, but it was one of those, hey, you talked about something controversial, we're not going to we put you on the trending page, but we kind of revoked that because we thought what you're talking about, there's some controversy behind it. Which, meanwhile...
You're saying challenging ideas as a topic matter for... Mm-hmm. What? No!
Meanwhile, look at CNN. Oh, no, it was that YouTube demonetized the video because it talked about controversy. Meanwhile, look at CNN and Fox videos on YouTube. And those are totally monetized. Yeah. And they talk about the same exact stories.
Yeah.
So it's the things like that are very interesting. But...
yeah. Really... painfully interesting in a way, I guess.
Yeah. And pardon some of my knowledge here, because... some of what we talked about were things of this past month, and it's been a while, and I didn't quite have time to refresh my knowledge.
Get there for a second.
Oh, I was just saying that some of these stories have been spread out over the course of this past month, so I don't remember all the details of things, but...
I'm gonna disconnect, because this is, like, really acting up.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Back in.
But next on the list of what we're going to do is we're going to play some Mad Libs here. So I'm excited for this. Let me go ahead and just...
Alright. Hopefully that works now. Yeah, right. I'm back.
Hey, so next on the list we're going to play some Mad Libs. And then we're going to end off the stream.
Cool. I'm down with that.
Awesome. Okay. Can I go there? Yeah, you can kind of see that. Okay, cool. And where is podcast? Spookycast. Okay, here we go. So I guess I'll start. Scary thing. Let me actually hold on. Let's do the thing where we talk about something. Oh God, no. Okay, we're gonna do the thing where we try and relate it to stuff that we talked about on the podcast. Okay. Scary thing. I don't know if this makes me a horrible person or not, but Weinstein.
Well, actually, yeah. That's honestly kind of terrifying.
Okay, Luke, an adjective, describing word. Try and think of something that relates to what we've talked about. Geostorm probably has a lot.
Oh yeah. Shitty.
Oh, and there's capital H. Let me get rid of that. Okay. A number. What is a number that relates to something we talked about?
2049.
Yep, that's a good one. 2049. Okay, Luke, a verb.
A verb, so like an action.
Yes. What's a wheelchair-related verb?
How about stabbing, since we were talking about Assassin's Creed?
Good one. Okay, person. Jigsaw. Why not?
Jigsaw.
Okay, Luke, does that say food? A plural food.
A plural food?
Yes.
Okay. What? I'll just think of something that I've had.
I mean, also Halloween, since it's Halloween special, you could do some kind of candy.
Oh, candy, and I guess like candy.
Give me a plural candy. So candies.
I mean, like.
Or do you want to name a specific kind?
I mean, like people say candy as like all of it. Do you want some candy? Like,
yeah, that's true. Let's just do candy. Okay.
Wait, actually, sorry. I'm sorry. I just thought of a better one.
Okay.
I'll use like a specific candy. Mars bars.
All right.
Since that's apparently like a meme with YouTube also, and also I just like Mars bars. Even they don't sell in fucking US apparently though.
Okay, adjective. Fractured.
Oh.
Yeah, for fractured but whole.
But is the fracture is butthole?
Hold on. Luke, I'm going to actually take the next one and replace it with the person. The next one's monster, so I'll just say Jigsaw, and then now you give me a person.
Harrison Ford.
Hmm.
Is Harrison Ford gonna
Harrison Ford versus Jigsaw. I'd watch that movie.
I'd fucking watch it, yeah.
Okay.
That'd be cool.
An animal.
Oh, an animal? That's for me, right?
For me, because you just did the person.
Oh.
We haven't talked about animals, have we?
What about camel spiders? When we had a question about like what was the scariest.
That's
animal.
true. Let's do camel spiders.
Harrison Ford and spiders. Oh shit! I just realized.
Hold on. I need to read what this is. A thing. Okay, Luke, give me a thing.
The Thing, directed by John Carpenter.
What's the thing that we talked about?
Well, I mean, that is the thing. Like, literally, like, the movie itself is a thing.
You're not wrong. Did we talk about enough to justify that, though?
I feel like it... I just feel like it would be funny to just hear, and then came along The Thing, directed by John Carpenter.
Yeah, why not? Do you want to do that? Or
I feel like that the Thing have it be like The Thing 1982 with like parentheses around it, directed by John Carpenter.
There we go. Okay, and boom. All right, I think we're good.
Cool. I'm ready for it.
Okay, generate Mad Lib. Oh god. Okay, this is slightly off screen. Let me just go ahead and move that over. Alrighty. I'm gonna enlarge this so the YouTube end can see it a little bit better. Okay. There you go. Oh. Cool. Nope, a little too big there. Sorry, guys. Bear with me while I do this. Okay, and we're about good. Let me just... Oh, gosh, dang it. I forgot. Okay, never mind. That's good enough. Okay, here we go. I was worried my Halloween was off to a bad start when a black camo spider crossed my path, but it turned out okay. My best friend Harrison Ford, hell yeah, and I went trick-or-treating. That sounds amazing. The minute it started getting dark, I dressed as a fractured Weinstein. So Weinstein now, right? He's a fractured man.
Indeed. I
dressed as a fractured Weinstein, and my friend was a Shitty the Thing, 1982, directed by John Carpenter.
You want to know what that's called?
What?
The Thing from 2011. Hey.
The first few houses gave me their traditional Mars candy bars, their traditional Mars bars instead of candy. When we reached the end of the block, my friend dared me to ring the doorbell on the spooky house at the top of the hill. I tiptoed to the door, and just when I was going to push the button, a Jigsaw answered the door. I screamed and tried stabbing. I screamed, trying to stabbing until I realized it was just a mask. The old lady gave me the mask of 2049 candy bars. What? The lady behind the mask gave me 2049 candy bars, got it, since she didn't have many visitors. So, by far the best parts for me were the best friend, Harrison Ford, and I went trick-or-treating. And, the fractured Weinstein.
A fractured, yeah. What if, like, Harrison Ford is, like, your grandpa, and he's like, I'll take you out.
I wish he was my grandpa. Are you kidding me? That'd be so cool.
That'd be cool, yeah.
Yeah, who's your grandpa? Oh, you know, Han Solo, Indiana Jones. You know, that's him. That's old. That's Papa.
Spiders. Grandpa Ford, this is spiders. Ah, god damn it! Gets like a random torch out of it and just like fucking beats the shit out of it.
Especially like Harrison Ford, where he's at right now, where he just doesn't care, like, about a lot of things. That's the best Harrison Ford ever. Like, Harrison Ford when he was younger was like the cool guy. Now he's just that old guy who just doesn't give a shit, and it's amazing.
One of my favorite things was when he was doing like an interview for like 2049. One of the things was he was doing an interview. It's like, oh, so what are your thoughts on the film? And it's like, am I allowed to swear? And it's like, yeah, sure. And he said, I thought it was fucking awesome. And so he just blankly just said it, like it meant nothing. And it's like, fucking rad dude.
I mean, I'm glad that he asked, can I swear? Because I've seen interviews where he just goes, oh yeah, fuck that. I mean, wait a second. Oh, wait, that's right. I don't care.
Sorry. It's like, oh, wait, oh.
Like, he did that on the late night talk shows where he just straight up started cursing and then was like, oh, that's right. This is cable, huh? My bad. And then just kept going like it was nothing.
Fucking Harrison Ford is a legend.
He really is. Okay.
Legend.
Well, I mean, he is my best friend, so of course he's a legend.
Yeah, he is my best friend.
Alrighty. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of the J4U Podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed. This was a fun one.
And can I leave off on a ending kind of little piece of trivia?
Yeah, go for it.
The Asylum who make the mockbuster films, their equivalent of Geostorm is called Geodisaster.
That's pretty great.
And that's all I have to say about that.
We'll see you guys on the next one. Stay classy. Later. Woo!